Hey everyone, it is nostalgia time once again, and welcome to the third and final part of the Asus miniseries, where we are now going into the modern era of the line that we have, featuring Windows 8, Windows 10, and Windows 11. Now, first up is the Asus Republic of Gamers G571JT. Now, you see how fast the startup is. Now, that's because since the install processes took forever, so I took care of all the out of box experiences beforehand, so everything is all ready to go. And now, we are just waiting for everything to load here. So we see the taskbar for like a split second, and here's that start screen that everybody hates. And of course, you go up here to find the charms bar and everything like that. So over to the desktop, let's look here first. You can see we have a nice custom background with the what looks to be the back of the computer. And this is Windows 8.1. I believe this is the Pro Edition. And I see we do have a variety of programs already installed. The VIP ABC Club, I wonder what this is. And then we have the Asus gift box, which opens up in a web app. So, Asus install, I'm thinking this is like a software center. Asus web storage. I see we also have a Gameloft panel, because Gameloft was another popular brand at the time. Here we go. We have the license agreement. And it even shows English translations too, which is even better. USB Charger Plus. BIOS reporting failed. So I'm guessing this computer also had USB charging capability, so you could charge your phone or tablet or whatever with this computer. I believe as long as it's connected to a power outlet. So I'm gonna open up the gift box again. I believe that message says failed to connect to servers or something. Yeah, I think it said failed to connect to servers or servers shut down. Yeah, I think that's what it read. So sadly that no longer works. Now Skype Wi-Fi, let's see what this is. Guessing this is like a Wi-Fi client for Skype. We'll just let all these apps load in the background, and then we'll take a look at each one. And I think we've seen this one before, so we should know what this is. I think this is I could tell that icon looks pretty familiar. And what's all this? Let's open them both at once, because I believe this here is a trial of Office, and I'm not sure what that is. But I also see Evernote is on here too, so should know what Evernote is. Looks like one of them is a voice assistant. And let's see if that gift box is ready for us. And it does, but it says fail to connect to servers, I'm guessing. So I'm guessing this is where you get accessories for your machine. Or does it say no internet connection or failed to connect to servers? Please try again. I think that's what it's saying. But Yeah, so what this looks to be, I believe this looks to be a USB transfer tool. Yeah, I think that's what this looks like. Yeah, it looks like a file transferring mechanism too. Yeah, I believe Skype Wi-Fi is a companion to Skype, the main Skype. And then we know what Office is. We've seen this one before. And this looks like TripAdvisor, except it's been rebranded. Music Maker Jam. And Fresh Paint. I believe this is like a third-party paint program. As I think a lot of these we've already covered. You know, a lot of this stuff we've already covered in previous episodes. And now I can't seem to get back to the start screen. But I think the only other thing we didn't cover was that QQ thing. I'm not sure what that says. I'm sure that says failed to connect. What do we have here? It looks like a dashboard. It looks like this is a dashboard of sorts. And this looks like a tutorial on how to use it. So I'm guessing this is like some voice recognition and other pieces of software too. This looks like a network connectivity tool, which again I don't think is even going to run. Yeah, a lot of these apps are probably not even going to run at all, period. But let's see if we get other backgrounds other than this. Yeah, I think that says please log into Asus Web Storage. So just like with Windows 7, you can see we have a custom theme already applied. If we look here, that's the only background we get. So, not sure if this is 8.1 Home or 8.1 Pro. Well, by this time they didn't use the Home label. They dropped the Home label upon the release of Windows 8. They're now calling it Windows 8 Core and Windows 8 Pro. And they did the same thing with 8.1. 8.1 Core and 8.1 Pro. They would reintroduce the Home branding in Windows 10 and Windows 11, and they are using that same branding now. It looks like now the Music Maker Jam app finally wants to start. So yeah, it looks like we have a style already reset for us. So this looks to be a sample song. It's already provided. It seems to be looping on intro A. I can turn this loop off, and then it moves on to the next entry. And of course, even after I leave, it's still playing. Yeah, it's probably not going to start. I'm just going to go ahead and end this thing. Now it's gonna be hard to tell which one's the actual process. Because there really is no accurate translation. Okay, terminating that. Oh, did the song end? Oh, okay, terminating decom crashed the app. So it crashed the app. Okay, forget it. Forget it. I'm gonna stop terminating processes. So we're just gonna go ahead and move on now to the next machine. Up next is the ROG GX703HS, which actually came shipped with Windows 10. Now, this one was actually by far the most difficult one to set up, as I was literally getting sent back and forth through the beginning of the out of box experience multiple times. It actually took me about half an hour to get through the whole entire thing, the whole frickin' out of box experience. From booting into it for the first time, having to go through the same process 3 separate times, and I couldn't even get past the registration screen, which is why I had to do at least one reboot throughout. And after restarting that time, I was able to get through the whole thing and finally set this guy up. This is actually version 20H2, if I remember correctly. We have a couple of gaming based apps. So we have an Armory Crate, and then we have Aura Creator. Aura? I don't know how you pronounce that, but yet I can't pronounce it correctly. And see, there's the snippet sketch. It's shown up under J in the alphabet. I see we also have NVIDIA drivers on here too. And then there's also the text messaging service. And I have never heard of this app before, so I want to see what this is. I'm just going to run every freaking thing in the start menu. But then we also have Dolby Digital Audio. There's also Trial of McAfee on here as well. And then, of course, this is where you get all the Windows 10 goodies, Candy Crush and everything. And I see the Microsoft Store has also been removed from the taskbar to accommodate for this being a gaming computer. But then over here we get the typical Office goodies too. Microsoft Office. So let's just go ahead and start them all. I think this is asking about, I think saying that the Microsoft Store needs an update or something. And this is all about Adobe Access and yeah, this is like a trial, and it looks like this is a Japanese copy. Ooh, I get 25% off for 78 yen. Nice. Or whatever currency that is. Yeah, to me it looks like Japanese, so yeah, that is definitely Japanese yen. But then the Realtek audio console. I'm not even gonna bother waiting for all these apps to download. Because pretty much you should all know their purpose. And here is Paint 3D, which sadly no longer exists as of November 4th, 2024. Microsoft deprecated the app. Well, the app will actually still work if you have it, but it's no longer available for download in the Microsoft Store, not even on Windows 11, as they stopped including it with Windows 11. So we have the McAfee Personal Trial. And then this is Office. So it looks like Office might already be on here. The desktop app. And we got OneNote. Yep, we have the desktop apps already installed. You can see there's PowerPoint, and here's what looks to be Mail and Calendar. Here's the My Asus app. So I'll just give them all as much time as they need to load. And I see a license agreement for the NVIDIA control panel. But of course, it isn't really going to work because this is a virtual machine. And here's what looks to be their agreement of sorts. And I think at this point, y'all should already know what the rest of this is going to look like. So we know the NVIDIA panel won't work. But I really want to see what these four are. And you can see that's a new Intel logo, the newer Intel logo that's being used nowadays. And here's the Aurora Creator. I'm guessing, I'm not sure what that is. I think that's a tutorial. Or what is this? Check audio drivers or something? What does the other button do? I think that redirects to settings. I'm not sure what this is. I think it's a gaming component. And yeah, in order to access this Asus thing, you have to log in with a Asus ID. So Asus, like other manufacturers at the time, did their own Dell, HP, whatever ID services, where you get additional benefits too, like additional support and everything. And yeah, I think it said this is not an Intel system or something. And Thunderbolt, I don't know what that says. And Realtek Audio Console, this is like where you check the status of Realtek audio drivers and everything like that. Let's see what this Armory Creator thing is, and I think this is the last one that we need to look at. But really, I don't think the audio console is going to be interesting. And there's the McAfee to help you stay protected. And I believe many manufacturers were including McAfee or partnered with McAfee to include it on their machines. However, a lot of people, like me, use a different, like a third party piece of software that's more powerful than what they offer. Now, it's because those pieces of software provide additional security features that let's say what the manufacturer recommends doesn't have. So, I shouldn't really take that for granted. You know, when I get messages like these after I set up a brand new Windows machine out of the box. And I believe the Armory Crate might just be like an achievement dashboard. I mean, I'm not surprised too that they've included that because this is a gaming device. And y'all should know what other Windows 10 apps. Yeah, this is why I hate emulating new versions of Windows on a virtual machine. That's really all there is to see here, so let's just go ahead and move on now to the next one. So, next up is the ROG UX 305FA. Once again, this came shipped with Windows 8. And this is just a standard laptop. But here's what we have. We have an updated QQ thing, which I have no idea what that is. Here's the one we were trying to look at earlier on the other one, but it looks the same. Let me just clear this tutorial here so I can see. I also didn't see this too. We have this Asus install thing. I wonder what this is. It's probably a download manager. Asus installation wizard. Except we have the I don't really know what this is, but it actually doesn't look like to be our public gamer's computer. This is just one of the standard Windows machines of the time. And I believe this must be a Chinese variant of TripAdvisor. I also just saw a Chinese variant of YouTube as well, because the icon looks familiar to me. And there's that Music Maker Jam we were doing in the other one. We didn't check out Fresh Paint, didn't we? I think we tried to see if it would load, but I don't think it ever did. What's this one? I've never seen this one before. And I also see we have a trial of Office 2013 on here as well. I don't even know what the heck that is. So, yep, as I figured this was going to be a paint app. So we can create a new picture. I'm not sure what that reads. Does it read that Microsoft will be ending support for Fresh Paint? I don't know, but essentially, this is just a painting app, so nothing else too special to report on this note. Yeah, this also requires a sort of authentication. Not sure what this is, but yeah, this one also requires authentication, so we know we can't do that. But I believe this requires authentication as well. I'm not going to try that one, but from what it looks like, it's probably going to be very similar. So, so here's what the ZenBook looks like. This is the second background that's included. So here's the second background of such that's included with this machine. So now we're ready to move on to the next model. Here is the X550DP, which also came with Windows 8. As soon as I can get a hold of the scroll bar at the bottom, you can see this time around everything isn't really downloaded on the system. Either it's because it's not downloaded by default or something. But a lot of the programs on here are pretty much the same, except here we have this line thing, which from what this looks like, it looks like it's a text messaging service. And then Twitter, well, we all know what Twitter is, so there isn't really anything to see here. You can see this is what the laptop looks like. And what do we have down here? We have a e-manual. And this is something I don't think we saw in the other ones. So they've essentially included an electronic owner's manual on the drive, which opens in a PDF form. And it's asking where do you want to open it. Fine, we'll just open it with Internet Explorer. And here's where the background is. So it should be able to open PDFs or not, because it'll just try to download it. So yeah, pretty much nothing to report there. So that's really it for this computer then. So we're going to go ahead and move on now to the next one. Next, we have the ROG Zephyrus GU603HR, which once again comes with Windows 10. Now let's see if we can go into the settings. And we can see on this copy that it looks pretty identical almost to the other ROG that we just took a look at. Because once again, we have the My Asus app on the taskbar, along with the Xbox app. So we're waiting for the start menu to open. And yeah, from what it looks like, pretty identical to what we just saw. So once again, we have the ARM Recreate or Creator. There's the Adobe Access tool. And there's the now dead Paint 3D. But interestingly, I don't know if I installed this myself or it came out of the box, but I also see it came preloaded with Microsoft Whiteboard, which essentially is like an on-screen whiteboard tool. So it comes with Windows 10. I believe this is the Home Edition, version 20H2. That's 630. From what this looks like, this is the security update from November 10th, 2020. Which includes some Japanese editor improvements, enhancements, and fixes. But of course, you can look at the Windows 10 update history and you'll get the full information there. So we just get this background, similar programs, but otherwise nothing else too special. So we're going to go ahead and move on now to the next machine on the list. Next up, we have the GU603VU, which actually comes with the 22H2 update, or I should say release 2 of Windows 11. And I could tell that by the updated boot circle. And from what this looks like, pretty much all the apps that are on here are pretty much similar to what we saw on that other one. Except here, this is before Microsoft mandated the new Outlook app to be installed on all Windows 11 machines instead of Mail and Calendar, as they have deprecated the app as of the end of last year. So we can see some of the same apps from before. We have the ARM Recreate, the OR Creator. There's the new Clipchamp editor. For some reason, Cortana was still being bundled, although Microsoft was getting ready to develop Copilot. There's Adobe Access, there's Microsoft Excel, and there's the new Family app that would be introduced to Windows 11, bringing back sort of the same functionality from the parental controls feature that I believe was in Windows Vista. We have an NVIDIA GeForce experience. There's the My Asus. Microsoft To Do is also preloaded on here. There's the Realtek Audio Console. And then I just saw a virtual assistant app. So for whatever reason, the apps are refusing to open, including the settings app. So here's the version we're dealing with. This is Windows 11 22H2, number 22621.521, which is the so the 521 looks to be one of the insider, I guess, pre-release builds, because the update history goes as far back as 608 as of the time of recording, but it'll probably be it'll probably get less and less useful eventually as time goes on. But I know this is an early security patch of 22H2. So that's really all there is to see on this machine. So let's go ahead and shut it down here. And I've already set up the next one, the Asus VivoBook E203M, which came shipped with Windows 10, once again. And we can see it looks to be a bit of an older version, because you can see Cortana is directly integrated into the search bar. And it's the Transformer Book T100. And I can see it's already yelling at me with the full screen activation message, that of which we can disregard. Let's scroll over to the right side. And let me clear this out so we can see what we have. I can see we have pretty much nearly the same things as we've had before, except we have Asus's own version of Power Director and Photo Director, both of which are video and audio editors, provided by Cyberlink but rebranded by Asus. So pretty much on the desktop, the same as what we've seen earlier. But then on the right side we can see the tablet PC in question that this is. So that's really it then in terms of that. That's really all there is to see, because a lot of the stuff there we've already covered. Alright, so here is the VivoBook E203M. As you can see, we have an older version of Windows 10. As you can tell by the old Cortana search bar UI design. And if we open up the start menu, we'll probably be seeing something very similar. And I believe this is version 1809. So here we have the Asus keyboard hotkeys, and then we have the Realtek audio controller, the hotkeys, my Asus, and the Realtek audio controller. Those are the three main things I'd like to look at. This is version 1803, the April 2018 update. .48, so this must be one of the first updates. So basically the hotkeys thing is just, like a sort of, settings for the hotkey keyboard shortcuts on the machine. So that's essentially all that is. So we're going to go ahead and move on now to the next machine on the list. Okay, next up we have the Asus ZenBook S, which is an OLED model. And so, as we can tell, everything's pretty much identical here, except we have the AMD driver on the system and GlideX, which I've never heard of before. We got McAfee again, Screen Expert. And then what do we have here? WPS Office. I'm guessing that's an alternate version to Microsoft Office, like we've seen throughout the series. And this is the original release to manufacturing build of Windows 11. Dot number 493. So we have WPS Office 2022. Oops, this application service is now only supported with Asus computers, so we won't be able to see what that is. So really, that's everything for this machine. Except WPS Office is starting up. Well, it tried to. And yeah, as I expected, it's an alternative to Microsoft Office. So the GlideX tool is basically a utility that allows you to duplicate your screen from your computer onto a phone or tablet, and you can even share your phone screen with the computer, and you can interact with the phone from the computer, which is pretty interesting, this kind of technology. All right, so now we're going to go on to our last machine of the set. So here's the last machine, the Tough Gaming A15. And I'm not sure what ended up happening here, but apparently the system ended up corrupting itself. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, I did all the install processes just before I started filming the episode. But from the Internet Archive photos, this is pretty much going to be exactly identical to those other Windows 11 machines we've looked at already in terms of software. But the only difference is the background, which is not related to Asus at all. So I don't think there's really going to be anything exciting or different about this specific machine at all. So that is where this episode comes to a close, and this is also where we end our Asus mini-series. So in our next episode, we kick off another exciting mini-series, and it's going to be a good one. But until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.